Oh, that's cool. That is cool. I didn't realise that Molotov set fire to the barricades. That is seriously awesome. Oh my god, we're literally going to burn down the entire map. That's crazy. Good morning, good evening and good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome back to Riot Civil Unrest. So, I know I haven't been playing this game for quite a while now, and as such, there has been there's been quite a few updates that have happened. So, I have a little log on my other screen of what I've missed and what have been my favourite parts of the last updates, and hopefully I'm going to be able to show you a few of my favourite additions they've made to the game. Because quite honestly, the reason I stopped playing this game for a good amount of time, I think it was at least a few weeks, because the last video I did was on update 9, and at the end of February we had update 14. So I've missed 5 updates. And theoretically, if they keep on following the update day schedule they have, which is every Monday, then an update should come out later today, which I will, if it's meaningful enough, I'll do an update video on next week. But I figured that you've had enough of the long dark for a while, so I will go back and do a bit of Riot Civil Unrest, because it has changed. So I'll go from update 10 through to update 14 and just give you a little debrief on the bits that I've enjoyed the most about each update. Because I have been playing this game, wow, that was mean. I have been playing this game throughout the updates that have come out. I just haven't found the game to be meaningful enough to actually do anything about it. I know this sounds kind of weird, but it's just the way I felt about it. Right, let's get rid of this flank here. That was an awful firecracker. So anyway, this is in direct clash mode. So in update number 10 we had they were lowering the time it took for demonstrators to sit down and raise their hands. Now in previous versions I understand why they've done that completely, because it did take way too long for them to actually get in a group and put their hands down. It did take them way too long, and it got a bit ridiculous. So I'm glad they fixed that. It was a while ago they fixed that, but I'm glad they've actually fixed that. Now, this is obviously direct clash, so there's not really anywhere I can lose, so I don't really have to pay any attention to this game until I get to certain parts of what I want to talk about, which is very helpful. Update 11, nothing really huge happened, if I'm honest with you. Update 12, they fixed the ballistic trajectory, which is amazing. So, if you've watched my police or Riot Police guide from quite a while ago, which I have to admit I do need to update it, when you were firing tear gas, you had to aim probably about 5 feet in front of where you actually wanted it to land, and then it would kind of hit the ground and kind of roll, which is realistic, that's what happens. But now, when you fire the tear gas, it actually lands where you point, which is a lot more helpful than the previous design. Previous design was not helpful at all. Right, we're going to go for a little bit of a rush here and try and push these guys back before they kind of flick over, because that's going to flick over in a minute. And we'll try and get a firecracker in here to kind of annoy them a bit. That's going to do a good job. In update 13, they did a mammoth amount of changes to the barricades. A feature which, until I saw a screenshot of it on the Steam community page, on the Steam community pages, on the artwork and stuff, I didn't even know it existed. I genuinely didn't even know that it was a thing you could do, which I do actually want to do in this. So, I am going to do that, and I'm going to make a defensive barricade right there. And with these guys, I'm going to make another defensive barricade right here to theoretically try and kind of attempt to bottleneck the police. I can't believe that they added in the ability to actually build barriers in the game and I didn't know about it. That is absolutely awesome. Now, I have been playing this a bit and I have to admit, the offensive barriers are a bit more effective than the defensive barriers. I haven't actually always been able to get them to build the defensive barriers. It seems to only happen in about 50% of the cases. It doesn't always happen when you set them up. Whereas the offensive barricades, whenever you set them up, they work. So let's go ahead and set up a offensive barricade with our guys up here. We'll have to wait for the cooldown timer to go on our little flag. And we'll make one down here, why not? Ah, our guys have switched back. Come on. And we'll get a nice big one right in there. And they'll eventually be able to push forward and actually make that thing. Eventually, I hope. And with update 14, they brought in fixes to the custom police menu. So I'm pretty sure I showed you this in a previous video, where you would select stuff on the police spawn menu, and then it either wouldn't spawn in those units, or it would reset everything that you had done, which isn't helpful in any way, shape or form. It's not helpful to anyone. Now, I am actually going to attempt to try and push these guys back a bit. They are getting a tad bit violent, which isn't very nice of them. Right, I don't want to move them. I want to push these guys back. Let's just make them all violent. Let's just go for it. We can't lose. Well, we can lose, but... Let's go! Just try and get those barricades reset up. Reset up? I'm pretty sure that's not even a word. Right, we'll have one over here. And we'll have one down at the bottom here. Let's go! Build your barricades! I think I've just shorted out that one as well, which is awesome. So what I wanted to talk about is what I'm hoping for the future of this game, because quite honestly, there's been a hell of a lot of indie and early access games come out recently that I do want to get involved with, because some of them look pretty damn cool. And hopefully when I start live streaming in about a month's time, I can play those as well, which will be in the future, hopefully, fingers crossed. But I really want to talk about the future of this game and what I'm hoping for, because when I found out about the barricades update, I thought to myself, right, with the way this game started, where's it actually going to go in the future? Because when you actually think about Riot, you have to realise that whatever Riot you go to, there will be peaceful people there. Whatever Riot you go to, whether you're talking about riots in like London, riots in America, riots in Ukraine, riots in, you know, Asia or whatever, there will be peaceful rioters there. Pretty much no matter the situation, no matter how bad it gets, you will always have peaceful rioters. You always have people that don't want to get involved in the violence. And here, we already have this. because you will see when you have the lower tier group set up and you have mass amounts of crowd, as soon as you turn angry, you will have people stepping off to the sides. That is realistic, okay? And the same goes for when you have peaceful protests. You have protesters that do a thing called hijacking a protest. It happens on a regular basis. If you look at any protests in like the news or throughout history of recent times, you will see that people hijacking protests with violence is a regular thing, even if the majority of the protest is calm and peaceful. It's a thing that happens. So what I really want to see, and especially with coming onto barricades as well, what I really want to see in the future is a game where no matter how peaceful you are, there's going to be some violent people, and if they get arrested by the police, I'm going to go on to the police side of this as well. If they get arrested by the police, that's not really going to affect you, because as a whole, your riot is peaceful. And I think the same would go for if your riot it has a majority of violence in it. If you get peaceful protesters that get arrested as part of that, you're not going to really be too annoyed, because they're not really participating in your cause that you're trying to push for. On the police side of that, I think the same could be said. If you have a peaceful protest and you have some people that are being violent, if you manage to arrest them, you could almost turn down the violence because you've arrested people that are trying to hijack that peaceful protest. When it comes to barricades, I love the idea of not having necessarily short protests like that last a couple minutes, which is pretty much what the campaign is at the moment. Oh my god, they've actually partially already done what I've wanted. So if I try and bring a short crowd over here, and I have tried to make sort of 2 or 3 barricades here, if I try and push them directly here, they can't go past the barricades. That is absolutely beautiful. That was a really nasty stun grenade, and that's going to be a nasty one as well. Oh, not so nasty. I thought it was going to land down here. What I want to see in the future is longer riots where you're not just going for the short-term goals. You're not just advancing to try and get those 5 feet of extra space on the screen. What you're really trying to do is set up a basis where you know, no matter what the other side tries to do, they will not be able to get past that. And I think with the barricades, they've done really, really well with that. But depending on where the riot is in the world, I think they could quite easily take it one step further. I really think they could. If you've watched any of the videos of the Ukrainian riots, I'll put a link down in the description to a clip that I'm talking about. There's a clip where they have literally built what looks like the wall of a castle out of wooden structures, and you have this Ukrainian government armoured personnel carrier, or APC, that's a wheeled vehicle that drives straight into this barricade. Before it drives straight into the barricade, it gets tons and tons and tons of Molotov cocktails thrown at it. And I mean a lot of Molotov cocktails thrown at it. Like, they do a serious job on this thing. Like, they do not mess about. However, when you see the other side of the vehicle hitting the barricade, you see probably about half a dozen people gets thrown off of it at least like 5 or 7 feet, which is absolutely crazy. Now, I understand that there's certain limitations to the way this game has been made, but I do think that they could definitely bring vehicles in to work in that way. So if you have, say, up here, I've got quite a hefty barricade situation going up here. If they had a heavily armoured vehicle with like a plough or something on the front that you could make as an option, they could push that barricade out of the way with a certain amount of force. But again, you have the other side of that option, that if a vehicle has a plough on it, you're going to automatically start on the back footing with the police. So it's really, I love the way that everything they're adding so far has a cause and has an effect. And so far, in the last few updates, they've managed to really balance out the majority of things. But in the future, I really think they could, and I really hope they do, take it a lot further. So obviously, if you guys have any ideas, any thoughts, any comments on what you think the future of the game could hold, anything you like at the moment, any features you like at the moment, anything you don't like and you think they could, any way you think they could improve or change that, then please do leave it down in the comments. I do read every single comment that comes onto my video. As always, if you liked the video, enjoyed it, then please do click that like button down below. It lets me know that you've enjoyed the content that I am putting out, and then I will put out more of that specific content if people like it. So yeah, I'm going to try and come back to one video of Riot Civil Unrest a week now, because they've added enough stuff into it to a point where I think I can make some pretty damn cool videos on it. I've already got a few in mind that I will be working on over the next few days for next Monday, and we will see what the game comes out with as terms of updates this week. As always, ladies and gents, we've got a few weird graphical glitches going on here. As always, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Wherever you are in the world, please don't get into riots, especially not violent ones. Violent riots don't solve anything. Well, not in most cases, but please don't get into any riots. If you want to go and be involved with peaceful protests, brilliant. Voice your opinions to the government, get some change in order. Wherever you are in the world, stay awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Now, let's see if we can be victorious over the chaos that we have left for this last 12 minutes. I think we need some reinforcements, and a Molotov also always helps.